Imagine this: the most powerful people in America, presidents, Supreme Court justices, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, senators, intelligence agency directors, all of them, at some point in their lives, sat in the same secret room, performed the same bizarre rituals, and swore the same oath of loyalty to a society you're not allowed to join, and they'll never tell you what happens inside. Sound like a conspiracy theory? It's not. It's documented fact. From the very beginning, America has been shaped by secret societies, groups with strange symbols, coded handshakes, and members in the highest levels of power. They've influenced everything from the Declaration of Independence to the wars we've fought to the presidents we've elected. Some of these societies are hundreds of years old. Others are still operating today, right now, on Ivy League campuses and in private clubs across the country. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the secret societies that built America. And I'm warning you, once you see the connections, you can't unsee them. Let's get into it. We need to start at the very beginning. The birth of America itself. 1776, Philadelphia. A group of men gather to sign the Declaration of Independence. These are the Founding Fathers, the men we're taught to revere: Washington, Franklin, Jefferson, Adams. But here's something they don't emphasize in history class. Many of them were Freemasons. Benjamin Franklin, Freemason. George Washington, Freemason. Paul Revere, Freemason. At least 9 signers of the Declaration of Independence were confirmed members. Some historians argue the number was even higher. This wasn't a coincidence. Freemasonry was huge in colonial America. So what exactly is Freemasonry? It's one of the oldest and most widespread secret societies in the world. It started in Europe, probably in the 1600s or 1700s, growing out of medieval stonemason guilds. They adopted symbols like the square and compass, the all-seeing eye, and elaborate rituals based on the building of Solomon's temple. But Freemasonry became much more than a craftsman's guild. It became a network of influential men sharing Enlightenment ideals. Reason? Individual liberty. Separation of church and state. Brotherhood among all men, regardless of background. Sound familiar? Those are the exact principles America was founded on. The Freemasons didn't just believe in these ideas, they actively worked to create a nation built on them. George Washington was initiated into Freemasonry at age 20. He rose to the rank of Master Mason when he laid the cornerstone of the U.S. Capitol building in 1799. He did it in full Masonic regalia, using Masonic ritual. Think about that. The U.S. Capitol, the center of American government, was founded with a Masonic ceremony. Benjamin Franklin was even more deeply involved. He was the Grand Master of the Lodge of the Nine Sisters in Paris, one of the most influential Masonic lodges in Europe. This lodge included Voltaire, other Enlightenment philosophers, and key figures who supported the American Revolution. Franklin used his Masonic connections to gain French support for the Revolutionary War. Without that support, without French money and troops, America might not have won independence. The Freemasons literally helped create the United States. But here's where it gets interesting. Look at the symbols of America, the Great Seal of the United States. You see it on the dollar bill. On one side is an eagle. On the other, a pyramid with an all-seeing eye above it. That eye is a Masonic symbol. The pyramid, the Latin phrases, the numerology, all of it has Masonic connections. Some people see this as proof of a conspiracy, that the Freemasons secretly control America, that they embedded their symbols into our national identity as a mark of ownership. But the truth is probably less sinister and more practical. The Founding Fathers were Masons because Freemasonry represented the ideas they believed in. They used Masonic networks because those were the networks of educated, like-minded men who shared their vision. The symbols weren't about control. They were about identity. Still, the influence is undeniable. 14 presidents have been confirmed Freemasons, including Washington, both Roosevelt's, Truman, and Ford. Countless senators, judges, military leaders, and businessmen have been members. Even today, there are an estimated 1 to 2 million Freemasons in the United States. They meet in temples in nearly every city. They perform rituals behind closed doors. They help each other professionally and financially, and they don't talk about it to outsiders. That secrecy, that's what makes people nervous. Now let's talk about a society that makes Freemasonry look transparent: Skull and Bones. If you've never heard of it, buckle up. This one is wild. Skull and Bones is a secret society at Yale University. It was founded in 1832 by William Huntington Russell and Alphonso Taft. Every year since then, 15 Yale juniors are tapped to join. That's it. 15 people per year. About 800 living members total at any given time. But these aren't just any 800 people. They're some of the most powerful individuals in America. Let me give you names you'll recognize. William Howard Taft, President and Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Bonesman. George H.W. Bush, President, CIA Director, Ambassador. Bonesman. George W. Bush, President. Bonesman. John Kerry, Senator, Secretary of State, Presidential Candidate. Bonesman. In the 2004 presidential election, both candidates, Bush and Kerry, were Skull and Bones members. Both refused to discuss it publicly. When Tim Russert asked John Kerry about it on Meet the Press, Kerry laughed nervously and said, "Not much, because it's a secret." When Bush was asked, he gave almost the same response. Two men competing for the presidency, both members of the same secret society with only 800 members, and neither would talk about it. Let that sink in. But it's not just politicians. Skull and Bones members include founders of the CIA, Supreme Court justices, ambassadors, magazine publishers, corporate CEOs, and heads of major foundations. Henry Luce, founder of Time magazine. Bonesman. Averell Harriman, diplomat and businessman. Bonesman. Multiple Rockefellers, multiple Vanderbilts, multiple members of America's most powerful families, all Bonesmen. So what actually happens inside Skull and Bones? Here's what we know from leaks and testimonies over the years. Members meet in a building at Yale called the Tomb. It's a windowless, fortress-like structure. No outsiders allowed. Ever. Inside, the initiation ritual reportedly involves lying in a coffin, confessing sexual history, and swearing total loyalty to the society. Members are given secret names. They meet twice a week during their senior year for discussions and bonding. The society is intensely secretive. Members are forbidden from acknowledging it publicly. They receive significant financial and career support from older members throughout their lives. And here's the creepiest part. The official logo of Skull and Bones is a skull and crossbones with the number 322 beneath it. Their meeting room reportedly contains stolen artifacts, including, according to legend, the skull of the Apache leader Geronimo, stolen from his grave. When Geronimo's descendants demanded the return of the skull, Skull and Bones refused to confirm or deny they had it. This isn't ancient history. This is happening right now. This year, 15 Yale students were tapped and initiated. They're now part of this network. In 20 or 30 years, some of them will likely be senators, CEOs, or judges. The pipeline continues. Now you might be thinking, okay, so powerful people join exclusive clubs. So what? That's just networking. And yeah, on some level, that's true. Every industry has networks, country clubs, alumni associations, professional organizations. But here's the difference. These societies are secret. They perform rituals. They swear oaths. And their members go on to hold positions of massive public power while maintaining loyalty to a private organization. That creates conflicts of interest. When George W. Bush and John Kerry were both Skull and Bones members running against each other, where did their ultimate loyalty lie? To the American people or to their secret society brothers? When Freemason judges rule on cases involving other Freemasons, is there bias? When business deals happen between society members behind closed doors, is that fair competition or insider networking? These are legitimate questions, and the secrecy makes it impossible to answer them. There's another society we need to talk about, and this one is active right now with some of the most powerful people on Earth. The Bohemian Grove. Every summer, in a private forest in Northern California, about 2,000 of the most influential men in the world gather for 2 weeks. No women allowed. Total secrecy enforced. Members and guests have included every Republican president since Herbert Hoover. Corporate CEOs, military leaders, media moguls, artists and musicians. What do they do there? According to reports and leaked information, they perform a ritual called the cremation of care, where they burn an effigy in front of a giant 40-foot owl statue. They give speeches called lakeside talks, where policy is discussed off the record. They drink, network, and bond. It's called the greatest men's party on Earth. Former President Richard Nixon, in a recorded conversation, called the Bohemian Grove the most faggy thing I've ever seen, but admitted that important people attend, and it's politically necessary to go. The Manhattan Project, which developed the atomic bomb, was allegedly first planned at the Bohemian Grove. Major policy decisions, business deals, and political alliances are formed there every summer, all in total secrecy. No press allowed. No records kept. Is that a conspiracy? Not really. It's just how power works. But it shows that secret gatherings of elites absolutely do shape America's direction, behind closed doors, away from public scrutiny. Let's be clear about something important. Not all secret societies are evil. Not all of them are conspiring to control the world. Freemasonry, for all its secrecy, has done a lot of good. They run hospitals, fund charities, support education. Most local Freemasons are just regular guys who enjoy the ritual, the history, and the brotherhood. They're not plotting world domination. They're organizing pancake breakfasts and fundraisers. Skull and Bones is essentially a very elite networking club. Yes, it creates unfair advantages. Yes, it's weird and exclusionary. But it's not orchestrating false flag operations or secretly running the government. The Bohemian Grove is just a retreat for rich and powerful men. Exclusive? Absolutely. Influential? No doubt. Evil? Probably not. But here's what is true. These societies create networks of power that operate outside public view. They foster loyalty among members that can supersede public accountability. They provide advantages to people who are already advantaged, reinforcing existing power structures. And that matters in a democracy. Democracy is supposed to be transparent. Government of the people, by the people, for the people. When the people making decisions have secret loyalties and private networks, that system breaks down. You and I don't get to join Skull and Bones. We don't get invitations to Bohemian Grove. We don't have access to the networks and opportunities these societies provide. That creates a two-tiered system. Those on the inside and everyone else. Here's what really gets me about this whole thing. We live in an age where we're told to be transparent, to share everything. Our lives are on social media. Our data is tracked. Our emails are scanned. Privacy is disappearing for regular people. But the most powerful people in the country? They get to keep their associations secret. They get to have closed-door meetings. They get to perform rituals and make connections that will benefit them for life. And we're not allowed to ask questions about it. That double standard is infuriating. When pressed about Skull and Bones, both Bush and Kerry essentially said, "It's none of your business." But they wanted to be president. They wanted to lead the country. How is it none of our business what secret societies they belong to? Imagine if a presidential candidate today said, "I'm part of a secret organization with strange rituals, and I can't tell you about it." They'd be laughed out of the race. But because Skull and Bones is old and associated with Yale and elite families, we just accept it. That doesn't make sense. Now, I want to address the conspiracy theories because they're everywhere online. People claim the Freemasons are satanic, that Skull and Bones worships death, that these societies are part of the Illuminati controlling world events. There's no credible evidence for any of that. What we have evidence for is much simpler and honestly more concerning. Rich and powerful people form exclusive groups. They help each other. They maintain power across generations. They make decisions that affect all of us, but they do it privately, using networks we can't access. That's not a conspiracy. That's just how elite power works. And it's been happening since the founding of America. The real question isn't whether these societies are secretly controlling everything. It's whether we should tolerate this level of secrecy and exclusivity among our leaders in the first place. So, what does this mean for America today? Here's my take. Secret societies did shape America. The Freemasons embedded their values into the founding documents and symbols of the nation. Skull and Bones created a pipeline of elite leaders who've influenced policy for nearly 200 years. Groups like Bohemian Grove continue to provide venues where powerful men make decisions away from public eyes. These aren't myths, they're documented realities. But the influence is more subtle than the conspiracy theories suggest. It's not about mind control or demonic rituals. It's about networks, nepotism, and concentrated power. The problem is that these networks are fundamentally undemocratic. They concentrate opportunity and influence among a tiny group of already privileged people. In a true democracy, your last name, your college, and your secret society membership shouldn't determine your access to power. But in America, they often do. If you made it this far, thank you for diving into this with me. This is one of those topics where the truth is stranger than fiction, and the more you learn, the more questions you have. If you found this fascinating, smash that subscribe button. We explore hidden history, mysterious societies, and the stories that don't make it into textbooks every single week. Drop a comment and let me know. Do you think secret societies still influence America today? Should we demand more transparency from our leaders? Or am I reading too much into it? And if you want to go even deeper down this rabbit hole, check out our video on the conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. You'll be shocked. Thanks for watching. Remember, history isn't just about the past. It's about understanding how power really works. Stay curious, question everything, and I'll see you in the next one.